And we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to yet another episode of Blue Collar Game Day. It is week 3 in the NFL. Normally, I'd start with NFL news. There is not much in the way of NFL news this week. I'll move right into the Thursday night recap. It was Pittsburgh versus Cleveland. I had Pittsburgh winning that game. I thought Pittsburgh would bounce back. And they didn't. It's 29-17 Cleveland. And, Cleveland really just controlled that game at the line of scrimmage. And that's 2 weeks in a row that Pittsburgh lost games because they couldn't stop the other team at the line of scrimmage on defense. Because their defensive front got ran on. Which I still think that's a good defensive front, even without Watt. But, I mean, Nick Chubb had 113 yards. Kareem Hunt had 47 yards. Brissett, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Exactly the kind of game that Cleveland wants and expects from Jacoby Brissett. No turnovers, 200 yards, couple of touchdowns, quick, easy throws. That's exactly the kind of stuff. That's exactly the kind of game that Cleveland wants out of Jacoby Brissett until they wait for Deshaun Watson to come back. If you're Cleveland, you're in a good position right now. You're 2-1 to start this season. I don't think a lot of people have them starting 2-1. So you don't get Watson back until after 11 games. This is a good start. This is a good. You don't want to fall too far behind if you expect Watson to be good. Not saying they can sneak into the playoffs, but, hell of a start. If you're Pittsburgh, well, that offense looks rough. Najee Harris does not look the same as last year. He's just he doesn't seem like he's seen the holes. I've seen a few runs on the film and everything where the holes are there and he's going in the wrong direction. It's easy for us to pinpoint these things from at home, but he should be seeing it on the field. And it's a big reason why he's not getting the amount of yards that he should be getting. And, I mean, other than that, with Pittsburgh, well, I can't think that Mitch Trubisky is going to start this entire season. I don't see any way that they're going to be able to not succumb to the noise. We heard Kenny chants last week in Pittsburgh when they were playing against the Patriots. You're going to keep hearing those as the season goes on. Eventually they might have to cave and just play Mr. Kenny Pickett. Hopefully he's ready. Move right into the game picks for this week. Not the best slate that the NFL has given us this week. We got the Texans and the Bears at 1:00. That is a 3-point spread. Chicago is favored. I'm taking the Texans in this. Chicago does not look like a good team to me at all. I'm not saying that the Texans look like a great team, but I can't imagine any universe in which Chicago is being favored over a team right now, and I don't care if they're playing at home. Chicago looks bad, really bad. I have to take the Texans there. And the Texans, you know what? The Texans don't look as bad as they've been made out to be, as bad as they were made out to be before the season, I should say. They're not a very good team. I'm not saying that. But they're fighting in games. And Lovie Smith is still a decent football coach. He still knows what he's doing out there, on the sidelines at least. I'm going to take the Texans to win this game. I kind of like the way they're playing football, and I don't like anything about the way the Bears are playing at all. We got the Raiders and the Titans at 1:00. Both teams 0-2. Both teams desperately needing this win here. This was a tough one for me. I went a little back and forth on it. I'm going to take the Raiders in this. It appears the Vegas is favored by 2 points here. I'm going to take the Raiders to win, and I'll take them to cover that because it's only 2 points. I'll take them to win by a field goal, I guess. I do think it's going to be a little bit of a close game. But the Titans' defense is suspect at best. They look like they have serious issues tackling, and based on what I've seen out of the Titans the first couple of weeks, I don't see any way in which they can cover Devontae Adams and Darren Waller. Hunter Renfrow will not be playing, but I still am going to take the Raiders in this one. I don't see any way that the Titans can cover that offense. That they just don't look good on defense. We got the Chiefs and the Colts at 1 o'clock as well. Kansas City is favored by 5 points in this. I am taking Kansas City to win and easily cover 5 points. The Colts are 0-1-1. They look bad. Colts, they don't look good. This the Matt Ryan experiment does not seem to be working. Can't wait to see what aging veteran, mediocre veteran quarterback the Colts got next to try to get a run out of this team. They have a great roster there. They can't seem to figure out the quarterback position. They don't look good. I don't think they can compete with Kansas City this year. I think Kansas City is going to beat the shit out of the Colts today. Be 100% honest with you. I don't think this is much of a game today at all. Bills and Dolphins at 1 o'clock. Buffalo is favored by 4.5 here. I'm taking Buffalo to win this game. I would be a little wary of this spread. Buffalo is missing like their entire secondary, like everyone. And you know what? Miami played a really good game last week, and the Ravens defense did not look great, but Miami played a good game on offense. Miami's playing better than I thought they were going to be. I think this is going to be a pretty close game because of the injuries in the secondary. I think Hill and Waddle are going to be able to get their yards against backups. I still take Buffalo to win this, but I think it's going to come down to Josh Allen's offense outscoring the Miami offense, which I do think he can do. I do think Buffalo's defense is going to have a little bit of a hard time here. I would expect some points to be scored in this. And I'm not going to take that 4.5 point spread. To be honest, Buffalo will probably be a field goal to 7 points. But I'm gonna stay away from that 4.5 point spread just to be safe. Next up, we got the Lions and the Vikings at 1 o'clock, and I'm gonna take the Lions in this. I like the way that the Lions are playing football. I like what they're doing. I've made fun of Dan Campbell for sounding like a clown several times, but you know, as I've said this before, I've said this a few times before. Credit where it's due. His team fights. And one of the things I've noticed about the Lions, what they're doing on offense lately, is they're running the ball very well. Brian Baldwin, I think it was pointed out, they have the most rushes of 50 plus yards in the NFL so far this season. And he had a couple clips. Baldwin does great breakdowns, not vouching. Yeah, the line seems like they're blocking well. DeAndre Swift is running the ball great. The Vikings seem to have a little bit of problems against the run. I'm not 100% confident, but this is one of my upset picks here. I'm going to take the Lions in this game. Not completely sold on Minnesota. Not a lot of trust there yet, to be honest. Ravens, Patriots at 1 o'clock, both teams 1-1. Surprise, surprise. I am taking New England in this game. Jacoby Myers will not be playing. And I know everyone thinks that New England sucks and the Ravens are going to kick their ass because they're not afraid of you. Yeah, I've heard the story before. It's a home opener in New England. Foxborough is lit up right now. People are already all over the place out there. The Ravens defense, like I said, they do not look good. They look like they had some some big issues last week. Everyone thinks Patriots offense is terrible. I don't think they are. I know I'm going to be proven right at some point. I always am. It just happens. The Ravens defense to me looks like they have a lot of trouble tackling in the open field. And they clearly have some problems covering downfield. I think this is a big week for Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, maybe Jonnu Smith. I think this is the week that the Patriots kind of flip the script and all of you shut up and stop saying they're a 4-win team and maybe start actually looking at, oh, shit, that's right. This team went to the playoffs last year. Eventually, you're all going to realize what I'm talking about. But, maybe it won't be this week. I think it is. I think the Patriots make a statement this week. I think they beat Baltimore. Baltimore is favored by 2.5 points here. This game, like I said, this game is in New England. It is the home opener for Patriots fans. I wouldn't take Buffalo. I wouldn't take anyone to cover a spread in New England on the home opener. I ain't taking the Ravens to do it. I ain't taking the Ravens to win. Today, it's the Patriots are winning this. The Patriots will cover that 2.5 point spread because it's only fucking 2.5 points anyway. Be a close game. Lamar Jackson is playing great, but Patriots made a lot of moves on defense this year that flew under the radar, like Mac Wilson and Jabril Peppers adding speed to the defense. And this is exactly the kind of game that you went out and got that speed for. This is exactly what you got that speed on defense for. So let's see what it can do. Let's see how good they are. Let's see how fast they are. But like I said, I think the Patriots win this game. I think it's a statement week for them. We got the Bengals against the Jets. The Bengals 0-2 coming off their Super Bowl loss. Desperately needing a big bounce back win. And what better team to be a punching bag than the New York Jets? So that's just some teams have their place in the league. And some of those teams, their place is to be a punching bag when teams need a bounce back game. And that's the place that the Jets are. That's what the Jets serve to the league, is they're everyone's punching bag, except for Cleveland. I'm going to take the Bengals to win this game. They're favored by 6 points. I will take them to cover that 6-point spread. This is a week that the Bengals finally start to feel themselves. I know it's just the Jets, but sometimes, Adam Sandler was famous for saying the longest yard, sometimes you need a tune-up game. And I think this is what this is for the Bengals. I think this is a tune-up game. We got the Eagles and the Commanders at 1 o'clock. The Commanders is the worst name in football. I'm going to say this every week. Change that fucking name back to football team. My God. The Eagles are going to win this game against the worst name in football. The worst name in football looks like one of the worst teams in football the past couple of weeks. And the Eagles look good. The Eagles look very good. We're only 2 weeks in. I like to say don't overreact to the first 2 weeks, but where we are right now, the Eagles do look good. And I mean, it's the Commanders. We got the Saints and the Panthers at 1 o'clock as well. I don't like the Panthers at all this year. I think the Saints, we know what the Saints are this year. They're pretty much the same as they were last year. They're a tough team. They're not a good team. But the Panthers are they're not even tough. I think this is it for Matt Rule. It was already it anyway. This season, I don't see him turning this team around. You're 0-2. I think they're going to start 0-3. I think this season is going to go poorly for Carolina. I think this will be the last year for Matt Rule. They're going to have to show me something before I bet it, before I take them to win any games, to be honest with you. I got the Jaguars and the Chargers at 4:05. Justin Herbert is banged up. I believe he's going to play. I'm not 100% sure that he is. I haven't seen confirmation that he is or isn't. Assuming that he is playing, I'm going to take the Chargers to win this game. It's a 3.5-point spread. I guess with Herbert playing, I will take the Chargers to cover that. If he's not playing, I might change my pick around. I'd have to think about that. The Jaguars have not looked terrible. The past couple weeks, they look hell of a lot better of a team than they were last year. The coaching change from Urban Meyer to Doug Peterson is definitely noticeable. You can definitely tell it's a more well-organized team, and they don't just have some like asshole kicking them while they're doing their warm-ups. But I'm going to take the Chargers for now. I'm going to monitor if Justin Herbert is playing. The Rams and the Cardinals at 425. The Cardinals were able to squeak out a win last weekend against Vegas, but the Cardinals do not look great, especially defensively. I think the Rams are going to kind of beat them up this week. The Rams are favored by 3.5 points. I will take the Rams to win and cover that spread. I like that Rams defense a lot. And, I think the Rams, they'll figure it out on offense. I do think eventually Stafford will not throw a bunch of picks. The Falcons and the Seahawks at 425, two teams that probably don't even really want to win games this year. I wanted to flip a coin on this one. I guess I'm going to take the Seahawks. Fuck it. I don't know. Who cares? That, as Dre Rogers on Into the Lab would call it, is definitely the snoozer of the week. We got the Packers and the Buccaneers also at 425. Now I'm just going to NFL Network is advertising this as GOAT versus GOAT. Now, I just have to point out to everyone that it can't be GOAT versus GOAT because there can't be two GOATs because GOAT means greatest of all time. So, yes, Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. There's only one GOAT. You can say it's a matchup of two all-time greats. You can't say it's a matchup of the two GOATs because there can only be one GOAT. And I don't even know if that's just English. That's just basic English language right there. Just real plain and simple. Greatest of all time, greatest, plural, means one. There can only be one greatest of all time. It's simple. Very, very, very basic English. Anyway, I am taking the not GOAT, Aaron Rodgers and his Packers to win this game. I'm not sold on this Bucs team. I'm convinced that this is the year that it kind of falls apart for the Bucs. I know they're 2-0. I still don't like what I've seen out of them. Tom Brady looks. Tom Brady is taking Wednesdays off during the week now, apparently, and is 2 weeks off in training camp. Fucking weird to me. And I think eventually it bites him in the ass. I'm taking this as the week that it bites him in the ass. I think the Packers will come out more prepared. I think the Packers will beat them. We got the 49ers and the Broncos at 820. Now, if you were watching Into the Lab the other night, know that I had Londo flip a coin for me because I literally could not decide who's going to win this game. We can't figure out what kind of team the Broncos are. We do know what kind of team the 49ers are now that they have Jimmy Garoppolo as starting quarterback again. I had Londo flip the coin. So the coin picked the 49ers. And because the coin said 49ers, I'm going with the 49ers. I have a superstition. I always listen to the coin. Whatever the coin says, you got to do it. Just trust me on that. Don't fuck with the coin. All right, Monday night, 8:15, Cowboys and the Giants. I'm going to take the Giants here. because I think oh, I don't think the Cowboys can ride 2 wins in a row off Cooper Rush. I don't think you can. Had a great win last week. I don't think you're going to do it 2 weeks in a row. I think you're going to have a letdown game at some point there. And I like what I've seen out of the Giants. Danny Two Nichols does not look very good, of course. He's not a good quarterback. We all knew that. But I still like what I've seen out of them. I think this is a game, but basically it's going to be between Saquon Barkley and Zeke Elliott. I'm going to take Saquon to win this game. That's all I got for you today, folks. Get your picks in, get your lineup set. Don't forget this episode has been brought to you by creationsnacks.com. Use code BCMG for 20% off your order right now. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll be back next week for more Blue Collar Game Day action.